Tin Can Alley. As a kid, we used to play this game called Tin Can Alley. Most people would have called it Kick the Can. In 1978, one late fall evening in mid-November, it felt warmer than normal for this time of year. Since the sun went down by 5 o'clock, many of us thought it was a good idea to play this game. This time we had 9 players as we named them off: Kevin, Todd, Maria, Lisa, Janet, Tony, Gil, Derek, and myself. We all started with odds and evens to see who would be it first. Using Todd's Dungeons & Dragons dice he always had with him, the rule was, if you rolled odd numbers, you had to wait to roll again. Those who rolled even would not be it. The last to roll, odds, would be it. By the time we finished rolling the dice, it already looked like it was midnight. We all agreed, darker the better. Todd ended up rolling odds at the end, cursing his own dice for being it. First, he put them back in his pocket, then closed his eyes under the streetlight, starting his countdown from 50. Everyone scattered in every direction. The one rule to the game was, you couldn't go past the corner where a creepy empty house was. No one liked going to that corner because it was too dark. As for the other direction, you couldn't pass the streetlight. That would make it a whole block. After counting down, Todd slams down the can, yelling out excitedly. 1, 2, 3, I see Maria behind the blue car. Maria stood up. You cheated. You looked. Todd started laughing. Nope, I just know that's the first place you go. You do it all the time. Maria crosses her arms, wailing over to the circle, sitting down with the can in front of her. Again, Todd yells out again. 1, 2, 3, I see Gil in a tree in Mr. Mike's yard. Gil climbs down, shaking his head. I should have gone higher, then you wouldn't have been able to see me. Again, Todd let out a chuckle, saying, Man, you're wearing a white shirt. A blind man would have been able to see you. Todd then started looking under cars, around other yards, while not paying attention. Derek comes running up, kicking the can. Then Maria yells out, My hero, then runs off. Todd meagerly walked over, reaching down, grabbing the can from the curb. As soon as he turned around, a big brown station wagon drove by, slowly passing by him. Todd had a bad feeling, then started yelling out to everyone, Come in! Come in! Kevin, intrigued, was the first to walk up. What's wrong, Todd? Todd, pointing down the street, told Kevin that he had a bad feeling about the car that just drove by him. Kevin says, The big brown one? Yes, I have never seen it here before, have you? No, I haven't. Both Kevin and Todd started yelling for everyone to come in, which was a code for danger. Derek, Maria, Todd, and I came running up and started yelling out for the other 3. It was important to stay together as a group as we started yelling. Lisa, Janet, Tony, where are you? Gil, who was the oldest out of the group, told us. Stick together, you guys. I'm going down the hill and around the corner to see if they are there. Gil was 14 and big for his age. Not many adults would try to mess with him. As for the rest of us, we stayed together, continuing to yell out the other 3 names over and over. Still no answer. Then we saw it again, slowly coming around the corner, the big brown station wagon. This time I was able to get a better look at it. Faded wood paneling, darkened windows. Again, I started to get the chills, like I knew whoever was in this car was up to no good. The car stopped for just a few moments, almost like they were getting a head count. Then slowly the car started to pull off. Maria was the first to say something. I have a really bad feeling about that car. Shouldn't we run to our house and have our parents call 911? I told her. You heard Gil? He said we need to stay together. Gil, who took the alleyway, reached the corner, then started walking down the hill. He stopped to see only the back of the brown car sitting just a quarter block away. Then he notices the door opened, seeing what looked like Lisa sitting on the tail end of it. Looked as if, unnaturally, she was waving to Gil to come closer. Gil was not a fool, kept his distance because of the way Lisa was sitting, almost slumped over like a puppet. From where he was standing, he could hear a slight gurgling sound, almost a soft whimper. Her hands and arms started doing a strange dance, motioning like someone was controlling them. Gil slowly took one step back and yells out, "Lisa, get out of there. You know not to talk to strangers." She continued to do a strange hand dance, almost like she was ignoring him. Then he saw Janet's face, mostly obscured by the darkness of the car, but enough light hit her on the face to know it was her. Then in a soft voice, she cried out, "Run, Gil." Gil turned around, started running to the others, finally reaching them. "We need to call the police." That's when they all ran up to Mr. Mike's door, pounding on it. Quickly, Mr. Mike answers the door. Gil cried out, "Mr. Mike, call the police. We think Lisa, Janet, and Tony were kidnapped." Without hesitation, Mr. Mike called the police. It didn't take long for them to come. After taking statements from each of us, that's when I heard Gil tell them what he saw. Police went around the whole neighborhood looking for that brown station wagon with no luck. Saturday morning, what was left of us met up near Mr. Mike's house. That's when we saw the police just down the street at the old creepy empty house. Two of the officers looked very upset. The third man who walked out of the house we knew was Janet's father. He looked as he'd been crying, holding something in his arms. All of us started to walk down towards the house until another police officer stopped us and said, "Sorry, children, this is as far as you can go. Let the police handle this." Gil asked, "Did you find Lisa, Janet, and Tony?" "We can't give that information. This is an ongoing investigation, and it would be a good idea if you kids stayed in today." I asked the officer, "Did you find that brown station wagon?" The officer looks down and softly tells the children, "It's a good idea for you all not to go anywhere without an adult for a while. There is something evil out there, and until we catch whoever is doing this, none of you are safe." As for the rest of the weekend, all of us stayed in our homes, calling each other on the phone to see if one or the other found out anything. At this point, no one knew anything. That Monday when we went back to school, the rumor was that every bone in Janet's body was broken as if she was a rag doll. Lisa's body was found in the empty house, but not her head. And as for Tony, she was found flattened out, like a steamroller crushed her. We didn't know if any of this was true, but none of us played together again like we used to for years. Well, not until we were old enough to go out to the mall ourselves. From that point, we always watched each other's back from then on. As for the strange brown station wagon with tinted windows, it was found in the junkyard some years later, the inside stain covered in blood.